Ladies and gentlemen, we are live tonight for another edition of NASCAR Chase for the Cup 2005 Busch Series racing taking place at the Old Spice Speedway for the running of the Ice Shanty 300. Our first road course race of the Busch Series schedule, race number 10 of 31 on this custom schedule season, and we have an interesting one to say the least here today. It's going to be a bit of a longer race, probably one of the longest races, if not the longest race of the season as far as the elapsed time will go. 200 laps around this mile-and-a-half road course. It's going to be a Cup Series length kind of. Yeah, I'd say pretty much this is a Cup Series length for a Busch Series race. A lot of these drivers not used to it. And we'll have to see who's going to be able to conquer this racetrack to kickstart the, well, first 10 races of the year. We only have 21 races left to crowning a champion when this one is done here tonight. And after a crazy race last night at the Levi Strauss Signature Speedway, leading to our driver Greg Biffle falling to a 19th place finish, his worst of the season. First finish outside the top 10 this year. He's got some catching up to do today. He still comes in with a pretty comfortable points lead, but he wants to get back to where he was and then some going into last night's race. Like, share, and subscribe for more daily NASCAR content as we're about to get this night's of racing underway. Furfur Express, Michael Turner, Joshua Rumsey, welcome to the stream, guys. We're going to hop right into qualifying here. This race was supposed to start at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time tonight. I actually got home a bit later than what I was originally planning, so I ended up just eating dinner and then waiting to start the stream until about 7 o'clock. Unfortunately, there were some issues. I wouldn't say issues with my car, but what happened was a couple nights ago we had severe high winds. We have this pine tree next to our driveway that we've always had like turkey vultures and turkey buzzards in, and every spring they always, flock in. I kid you not, there is got to be at least 50 of them up there. It seems like they grow, like every year there's more and more that come back. Anyway, we've tried to get rid of them before. We just can't get rid of them for good. We can get rid of them temporarily, then they just keep coming back. I guess the only other thing we could do would be cut the trees down, but there's not really an area where we could do that because I live in town, and these trees are extremely tall, so there's just no way of being able to do it. Regardless of the fact, there's these turkey buzzards, turkey vultures, whatever you want to call them, and we had severely high winds, and there was bird poop and vomit all over my car 2 nights ago. It would have been. Ended up I washed it off, but unfortunately, their vomit is acidic, so the top of my car on the roof where it had vomited and there was bird poop everywhere and stuff, that's starting to rust. So I was at Advanced Auto Parts, I went to O'Reilly's, I went to Walmart, was just trying to find stuff that I could, just wash it tomorrow and try to get as much of the rust off of it as possible, or preserve it in any sort of way without damaging like the paint, or trying to, I guess, I don't want to let the paint eat away on the top of the car, but at the same time, I don't know if there's anything I can do, like anti-rust wise, to scrape it off. Anyway, that's what I was trying to do here after work today for about the last hour and a half, just running around trying to find whatever I could. So I came to a solution with something, and I'll try it tomorrow. We'll see how it goes, but I'm off of work tomorrow, so we will start on time as usual. So sorry for the late stream tonight. First qualifying lap for Greg Biffle was pretty good. He was 9th fastest on the board. Lap number 2, on the other hand, is going to be a bit quicker, but not quick enough for the pole. 4th fastest in qualifying for Greg Biffle. That is where he will be starting tonight. Kyle Busch will be starting from the pole after a 10th place run last night at the Levi Strauss Signature Speedway. Patrick Shadley, welcome to the stream as well. Best fantasy track on the schedule. For the Busch Series schedule, I'd say so. Green flag in the air. We've had some wild races at the Old Spice Speedway in the past. We'll see what tonight will bring for this NASCAR Busch Series event. Green flag is in the air, and we are underway. 200 laps of road course racing live on a Wednesday night. So head down into the first turn. Biffle trying to take it easy. He's already lost a couple spots. He's finally able to file himself down into line, and he'll make a move down to the bottom using the apron 3 wide into turn 3. And he lost 2 spots in the first 2 corners, but in turn 3 gets both of them back, and he's right back to where he started in 4th place. Kyle Busch, who qualified on the pole, looks as if he's going to be able to lead lap 1. He's got 1 more corner to go to be able to do so. Biffle locking the tires up in that final corner as he works on the 2 of Ron Hornaday. He'll clear him for 3rd place off the exit of turn number 8. 5 bonus points for Kyle Busch, leading the first lap of the day. Jacob Givens, welcome to the stream. Yeah, 200 laps on a road course is a long one. This is probably going to be every bit of 2.5 to 3 hours, and this is a Busch race. The Cup Series race here, I believe, is 400 laps. We might set a record when we get there for the longest stream in channel history. It's going to be a marathon race. We're going to see who's going to be able to pave their way to the end and get the win. You can definitely tell the driver who's going to win today is going to earn this one. And just trying to stay out of trouble on a race this long on a road course, so difficult. Bobby Hamilton Jr. drove it deep into that final corner. Little contact as Greg Biffle crowded him. He didn't realize Hamilton was making that late of a dive. Biffle had no clue he was there. He just piled right into him. Biffle with the undercut in turn 2. A little 3-car battle for the lead on lap 3. Hamilton in the middle now. Biffle to the bottom. 3 wide. Biffle slides the tires as he tries to pick the throttle back up again, but I believe he's going to be clear. Greg Biffle with a 3 wide pass in turn 3 for the lead. Bobby Hamilton Jr., who went into the lap in 2nd place, is still in 2nd. Kyle Busch goes from 1st to 3rd in 1 corner. So after Kyle Busch led the first 2 laps, it'll be Greg Biffle leading lap 3. Hamilton remains in 2nd off the final corner as Busch tries to cross him back over. Jacob Givens, welcome to the stream. Cars One Boy, welcome as well. See you guys down in the chatter. Astonished by the 200 lap distance in tonight's race also. Cup is 3:33. I mean, that's still going to be a long time. I mean, the Cup cars are going to be a little bit faster than the Busch cars lap time-wise, but not, that much. So adding an extra 133 laps on a race that's already probably going to be close to 3 hours tonight, you would have to imagine. That's going to be a long race when we get to that point of the Cup Series side of the schedule. Davion West, welcome to the stream. Mentioned before the race started, Greg Biffle's coming in off his worst finish of the season, 19th. And he finished 1 lap down at the Levi Strauss Signature Speedway last night with that 19th place position. He was the first car 1 lap down at the end of the race, but unfortunately he had a bad timing 2nd caution of the day, which ended up trapping him 2 laps down. The bright side of it, he was able to take on tires, and with taking on those tires, he was able to drive up to 19th and get 1 of his 2 laps back, because he was 2 down at one point in the last 50 laps, but had no real shot of winning the race. He went in with a pretty slow car, too. They tried to make some adjustment changes during the 2nd stop of the day. It was extremely tight from the get-go. Didn't qualify or practice for that race, so started from dead last in the field as well. Only got to about 25th even before that first caution came out over 100 laps in. I think it's safe to say where he finishes respectable enough, because I don't even think he had a 19th place car on speed. Just lacking it from the get-go. Third time Biffle's locked the tires up in turn 8 already. He's going to have to be careful doing that. He's got fresh tires right now because we're early in the run, but you don't want to burn them up too early in the race either. Watching Big Ten tournament, Nebraska versus Northwestern. I have barely watched any college basketball this year. I've seen 3 Michigan games, that's it. I don't think I've watched one from start to finish. I watched a little bit of their game against Ohio State on Sunday, being it was on before we went live for the pre-race predictions to the Las Vegas Cup race. Watched all but about the last 4 minutes of it before we went live on Sunday. Biffle is pulling away right now. He's out to about a 2-second lead. Well, welcome in XY Games. I'm doing great. Hopefully you are too. A lot of clean air and clean traffic ahead of Greg Biffle right now. With this long of a race on a road course, you'd have to imagine we're going to get some cautions periodically throughout the course of this race. We have had 3 caution-free races this season. I doubt this is going to be a 4th here tonight, not only with the long distance, but just how challenging the track is. It looks pretty flat, pretty straightforward. There's really no elevation changes on this road course, but it is still tricky. Very narrow, despite how wide it looks. It's pretty deceiving. Definitely some tight hairpin corners, 2 of them to be exact, that are complete U-turns essentially, and the S's between turns 1 and 2 can be very narrow, especially on restarts. We saw that on the initial start, which is why Biffle just kind of got out of the gas, gave up a couple spots, and he was able to get him right back in turn 3 anyway. Track position is definitely going to be the name of the game here today. You do not want to put yourself back in traffic if you can help it. Sonoma needs to be 55 laps less than what it is. That's way too short. With the layout they're going to be racing at this year, I'm assuming they're going back to 110 laps, because that's the way it was when they raced this layout before. But 55 laps, I mean, that's only a 55 lap race. That's going to be done in an hour and a half. That's way too short for a cup race. I mean, that's like Truck Xfinity Series. I mean, even Xfinity races are typically about 2 hours. Majority of the time. This race needs to be 55 laps shorter than what it is originally. Ashton G, welcome to the stream. Doing terrible in fantasy. It's only 1 week. Or have you played before this week? I can't quite remember. It takes a while to get used to. Definitely why I try to preach to join the league now, so that way when the playoffs start, you have a good idea of how to play the game when you have a shot to win the contest. Because realistically, your shot of winning the contest is slim to none missing the first 2 weeks. Well, now 3 if you haven't played yet. But I still highly recommend to join, so if any of you guys are not in our fantasy league, definitely join. You can go on to the NASCAR mobile app or website, go to the fantasy portion, sign up with your email. It is free to join. Chance to win 2 tickets to any NASCAR race of your choosing in 2023, excluding the Daytona 500 if you win the playoff championship or the regular season championship. Only rules that apply are obviously that you win either of those 2 championships, and you have to be a subscriber of the channel. My reaction to the races so far this season? I mean, obviously there's been a lot of good racing so far. I hope the cautions start to go down a little bit, and I think they will over time. These drivers are having a handful with these cars, which, you know, is a good thing. And they'll get used to it over time. They're still going to be hard to drive, and you're still going to see some self-spins just because of how hard it is to drive, that it's easy to make a mistake. But with repetition and extra time, these guys will get it down eventually. You're still going to be seeing, you know, some good racing, but the wild and chaoticness that every race has brought with 12 cautions in each of the last 2 races, like, that's not going to continue to happen. You'll have races like that from time to time, maybe on your more treacherous racetracks like Auto Club or, you know, like Darlington or something like that. Potential short tracks as well. Yeah, low grip racetracks in general are going to be the hardest ones to maneuver around on a consistent basis. But once they get to tracks that are relatively fresh as far as the pavement, like a Texas, you know, or a Michigan, over time, and even Michigan's starting to lose a little bit of wear slowly at this point. There's really not any, I mean, even Kansas is starting to lose grip. Texas is like, I know Atlanta's kind of considered a super speedway now, so I don't want to throw Atlanta in there. But of the intermediate tracks, I think the only one that's really been repaved within the last really 7 or 8 years has to be Texas. A few years ago, 2017. I don't know what to expect out of Darlington this year, to be completely... I'm almost scared for Darlington. I mean, you think of how much room there is at Fontana as far as, like, width of the actual racing groove and the racetrack. And then when we go to a track like Darlington, we're already having 12 cautions on intermediates as it is. We go to Darlington, which is tough to drive even with a 550 package. I have a hard time believing we're not going to have like 15 plus cautions in that race. At least in the Southern 500. And maybe by then they'll have one race on that track, so it might not be as good. So I guess it's kind of a good thing that the first race at Darlington is only 400 miles instead of 500. But it's still going to be difficult. Especially considering it's going to be a day race too. You have to imagine the sun's going to be beating down on that track. It's going to be hot and slick. Especially that race in May. It's going to be hot and slick. Hot and slick with this low downforce, higher horsepower package what we had last. Well, I guess considered we had the 750 package at Darlington last year, I guess the horsepower is less with the next gen car at Darlington, so maybe it won't be quite as bad, but it's still gonna be a lack of grip though. That's gonna be very intriguing. Patricia Times, welcome to the stream. Justin Haley fan. Wish this track existed. I do too. Be a fun track. I guess the closest thing to this track is probably like a Watkins Glen. A lot of straightaways, pretty high speed. Not quite as high speed as Watkins Glen. The only reason it's not is because it's a mile shorter in length, so you don't have as much time to get up to speed off of these tighter corners. Watkins Glen about a 2.5 mile racetrack. This is only a 1.5 miles right on the nose. Atlanta will be interesting to say the least. I hope it's a good race. My expectations are low. Honestly. Which I guess could be a good thing. It might be easier to exceed my expectations. If it's going to be a super speedway, I want it to be a good super speedway race. I just think with the width of the track not being very wide, and the fact that they're using a super speedway package as if it's a super speedway, even though in my opinion it's not. It's only 1.5 miles. It's going to be tough. It's going to be tough to stay packed together like NASCAR would want them to. And if they do stay packed together, is it going to look more like the 550 package where they're packed together closer in comparison, but nobody can pass each other because the speeds are down and you're full throttling all the way around the track? I mean, yeah, dirty air was a problem with the 550 package, but another problem was the fact that they were standing on the gas the entire time and you couldn't go anywhere. And this is almost exactly what Atlanta's going to be doing. So I hope for the best for Atlanta, but I don't have high hopes for it. So basically there's all sorts of motorsports going on next week. Not this weekend, but the following weekend. That lead is cut down to about 2 seconds right now. Whoever has made their way up to second place is closing in on Greg Biffle. I can't tell if that's Kyle Busch or not. We're 22 laps in. We saw Biffle lock the tires up at turn 8 on 4 separate occasions in the early going of this race when he was trying to get to the lead. And then pull away. And I wonder if he might have been using a little bit of his tires too early in the run. Could be a big issue in the longer runs in general, though, as well. We'll just have to wait and see if he'll continue to lose ground as the laps wind on, because we still have a ways before our first pit stop of the race. At least for Biffle, if I remember from our custom schedule season at Old Spice Speedway, I thought I remembered everybody else pitting well before the end of the pit window and splitting it into a 3-stop race where Biffle may potentially be able to make it in 2 stops. And track position's going to be the big key here. Obviously, the longer you can stay out of the pits, the better. You don't want to give up too much time. End up losing the lead and have a hard time trying to get it back if we do stay green long enough. So far, we're caution-free. We'll be coming to lap 24 this time by. Biffle just ran his fastest lap of the race at last lap as well, 46.845. Pretty good lap. It looks like there's still a lot of congested traffic towards the middle to the back of the pack. The front of the field is very spaced apart, but it's really about it. Feel like tires will be worn like Atlanta? No. Not that much. There's no way. There's no way the tires would wear that much. You have fresh asphalt compared to asphalt that was over 20 years old before they repaved it last year. It's not going to wear anywhere close to the same. I mean, even if you do have a bit of tire wear with how the next gen tires have, been holding up in general, it seems like there's more wear with them. It's still not going to be anywhere close to where Atlanta was. If you ran one lap at Atlanta on the old surface, you'd have to pit for tires. You're not going to be seeing that in Atlanta if we have, cautions breeding cautions like we have with some races this year. That's just not going to happen. I think track position's going to mean a lot in that race, considering I feel like it will be hard to pass, especially to pass the leader. I don't think it's going to look like your traditional super speedway race at Daytona and Talladega, even with the same package. Again, I hope I'm wrong. I'm going to be there in person, so I hope I'm wrong. I see a normal-esque super speedway race. I just don't see it happening. $99.12 moment. Yeah. I don't think so. You got to figure, though, with slowing the speeds down, running the super speedway package, the speeds are not going to be like what you saw at Las Vegas, where they were going over 190 miles an hour into turn 1. If I had to guess, even in the draft, These guys are going to be struggling to get over 180, 185, which, and that's at the very most, honestly. I could see 180 miles an hour tops going into turn 1 at Atlanta, and I would not be shocked if that was the case next weekend. When Keselowski flipped at Atlanta back in 2012, 2011, 2010, it might have been 2010, I don't know, somewhere in the early 2000s, but number one, they had the wing on the back of it, so it was a lot easier for cars to go airborne and have flyovers compared to what it would be now. Number two, or blowovers, not flyovers, blowovers. Number two, the speeds were up. He was going over 200 miles an hour when he spun on the front stretch, and with the wing, it acted like a parachute. If we're only going 180 miles an hour, it's going to be hard to have a blowover. Now, you can still flip going at speeds, you know, that fast. We saw it with Anthony Alfredo in the Xfinity Series a couple years ago at Kansas. He flipped and rolled, you know, kind of barrel rolled because of the awkward hit into the wall and stuff. And we've seen near flips on intermediates before as well, even though they're slower speeds than what you would collectively see at Daytona or Talladega, and the airflow is different in the pack or in the draft as well. I don't think we'll see anything like that, though. Biffle really locked the tires up that time into turn 8. He had a hard time trying to get the car to slow up. The lead is continuously shrinking, very minimal. I mean, it's maybe a couple tenth every couple laps at his gain, but you can definitely tell that lead has shrank over the last 10 to 15 laps. And it was about 2.5 seconds, and it's almost down to about a second and a half. 2010. I don't know why I said 2012. They didn't even have the wing in 2012. That Keselowski was in the 2 car. 2011, I believe, was his first year in the 2. That's when Kurt Busch moved to the 22. Then Greg Biffle started 4th after qualifying there. Kyle Busch led the first 2 laps, so he was able to get 5 bonus points, but Biffle will have led the next 28 when he gets back to the start-finish line this time. Comment down below how many cautions you think we'll have tonight. Caution-free so far, but there's no way we're going to stay that way in a 200-lap road course race. I don't know if that's the same Wesley or not from before. Whether it is or isn't, I don't think I'm going to read the full name. But welcome to the stream, nonetheless. Joshua thinks we're only going to have 1 caution. If I had to guess, I'm going to guess 3 or 4. Is this the same Wesley? Our unusual Wesley? If we got a bit sideways in turn 1. Made for a little bit wider arc into turn 2. Patrick says 5 cautions. That's fair also. That's the same Wesley then. Oh, some sparks flying at the back of the pack. Contact in turn 1. Lap car still side by side into turn 3. Jimmy Hill in the 116, and then I believe Barry Wilder in the 108. Are the first 2 lap cars that Biffle's closing in on. Biffle's extended that lead back out again over the last couple laps. It's right back to 2.2 to 2.3 seconds. Man, they're making contact in turn 8 again. Biffle to the inside of Wilder. At least took a peek. Couldn't quite get there. He's got a 2.5 second lead once again. Usley says 3 cautions. Yeah, I'm gonna guess 3 as well. Only because we have gone 34 laps without one so far. Biffle's lapped his first car of the evening. See people run out of gas at Atlanta? I don't see one. I mean, only if a caution gets put in a weird spot. The way the stages are, yeah, outside of Pocono, that's the only track we can see a fuel mileage race from the get-go unless we get a caution in just a really weird spot. Contact between Greg Biffle and Jimmy Hill. Lead back underneath 2 seconds again. Greg Biffle's struggling a bit in lap traffic. Locking the tires up, but he will get by Hill in turn 8. And now he's lapped 2 cars. Now we have enough mods on the channel right now. I think you asked that recently as well. Oh, 152. Looked like he was going to go wide. I guess he hit his marks all right. Pushing hard to try and get his lap back after Biffle passed him in turn 8, the lap prior. I don't know exactly how many mods we have currently, but I know we have enough given the regular audience. On a nightly basis, wow, Biffle gets sideways in turn 1 trying to check the car up. Again, we have trouble. Bunch of cars checking up. One's out in the grass. Oh, man. Ray Westbury running into the side of a couple different drivers, slowing up Greg Biffle. Oh, no, and Kirkland is in the way. Biffle tried to power through. He got squeezed, and he's into the back of Kirkland again, who is slamming into other drivers across the racetrack. That was a major jam. And now we have a caution back. Oh, there's another caution. It looks like Westbury stalled. I don't know what happened there, but after all the mess that was going on behind us, it looked like Westbury hit the tire barrier at the front of the pit road entrance, and that'll bring out our first caution of the race. That was a hard hit. I don't know how he went that far wide off of it. Would have been turn 6. We were worried about all the lap traffic there towards the back, and then something like that ends up happening. That was very strange. Biffle's going to hit pit road, though. He damaged his car pretty good trying to get by the lap car who blew an engine right in front of him, and he wasn't able to get out of the way on multiple occasions. That was just a mess. I'm surprised there wasn't a caution anywhere in there. 4 tires of fuel coming up, though, for the 60 of Greg Biffle. He's got some damage to repair, and the Mr. Clean crew will go to work for the first time tonight. Epic Plays 2, welcome to the stream. What did Wesley get timed out for? I missed it. I mean, as long as he's not spamming stuff. I didn't think he was. Somebody just drilled the front of the car coming into their pit box. I think it was Hermie Sadler. Race off of pit road's going to be a close one. The 106 and the 60 are side by side, and I think it's going to go to the 106, having that advantage on the inside, and Greg Biffle will be second out of the pit lane. So I think everybody pit. I'm not going to take what the crew chief of Greg Biffle said into act there. So I believe everybody hit pit road during that lap 39 caution. Green flag is back in the air once again. First lap's led for the 106 car today. Lance Brantley to the inside of Greg Biffle for position. Biffle stuck on the outside into turn 8 right now. Nowhere to go with Jimmy Hill right in front of him on the outside. So Brantley is clear for second place. So a couple of generated rookie drivers. Fantasy drivers lead the way with a couple of lap cars that are also fantasy drivers up ahead as well. Brantley going to drive it deep into turn 8. Not as deep as Biffle. Biffle gets into him. And that knocks him into the lap car on the outside of Jimmy Hill. Biffle gets the acceleration still, and I think he actually led that lap on the 106. Who did lead under the caution flag, winning the race out of the pits. Big block by Biffle into turn 1, and a great crossover by the 106 car. Biffle hangs on to second. Biffle's going to go for the lead down to the bottom into turn 3 again. And he's got it. Oh, I didn't see the Russia and Ukraine comments. I mean, as long as it's not, like, vulgar. I mean, if he's asking, I'm just not going to answer. I know I got asked that in the comment section of, I think it was, I know it was when I was at Auto Club. I don't know if it was a predictions video or what it was, but somebody commented something asking my opinion on it. I for one, I have no political beliefs, so any sort of like I have zero political drive, so even if I were asked that in like a public setting, like, oh, what are your thoughts on such and such? I either A, have no idea what the heck they're talking about, or B, couldn't care less that I really don't pick a side. You know, something like that. Obviously, you just hope that, you know, all parties can come out with peace in the end of it, but I don't know, nor did I really look too much into detail on exactly what's going on. Other than the fact that I know that there's a war going on over there. Biffle continuously locking his tires up in turn 8. He was doing that in the early going of that first run of the race as well. With everybody pitting during the caution flag, it's probably going to be a 3-stop race for everybody, I'd have to assume now. Remember, only 4 sets of tires, fresh sets that is. So Biffle has 3 left that he can throw on the car, so keep that in mind as he will have to make stops further as this race progresses, knowing that he is definitely going to have to pit 2 more times before the finish no matter what, and how the cautions play out. Ashton Township, welcome to the stream. Definitely tell Kyle Busch is not up towards the front of the field anymore. He must have lost a few spots on pit road because I didn't see him anywhere on the restart in the vicinity of Biffle, who restarted in second. Biffle out to a 2.2 second lead. Well, if I remember that, I'll start calling you Mikey for short. Largest lead of the race so far for any driver, and it happens to be 4-hour race leader, currently Greg Biffle, 3.2 seconds in polling. We're at lap 50, 25% or a quarter of the way home. In tonight's very long 200-lap race for the Busch Series. We're used to 200-lap races on mile-and-a-halfs, but usually when they're on ovals and not road courses in this case for the Busch Series. One caution already in this one. Now a 4-second lead for Biffle. Have to assume the lap traffic is probably playing a big factor in the drivers who were able to work their way up to second and third on back as well. Biffle's led all but a few laps in this race. If you count the caution laps, he's probably led all but about 6 laps or so. 5 or 6. We're going to alternate through the different camera angles for the first time in the race today when we get back to the start-finish line this time around. Do that for about a dozen laps. Next race of the Busch Series schedule will be in Michigan next week. Cup Series action on the channel for the next 3 days. As far as the NASCAR Chase for the Cup 2005 Series is concerned, custom schedule season races tomorrow night at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time at Phoenix. With the actual Phoenix Cup race this weekend, kind of coincidental, our next race of the Cup Series schedule, our custom schedule season happens to be at Phoenix. So we'll do that tomorrow night. And then a couple of fantasy road courses coming your way on Friday and Saturday night for the Cup Series custom schedule season at the Devil's Canyon and then the New York Metro Speedway. 2 new road courses, I guess, technically to the schedule and to the channel. With them being fantasy road courses as well that we have not raced at yet in any series. So it's going to be a lot of fun seeing what will come of those races over the next few nights. Mostly got EMS call. That's never good. You live in an inner city, or you live in? I would assume you probably live in an inner city if that's the case. Running the Truck Series Championship 4 race at Phoenix tonight. I wish you good luck, Billy. Your race is probably going to start and finish after mine started. It's still finished before mine gets done. Assuming you're starting it now. Yeah, I couldn't imagine being some sort of a dispatcher, firefighter of some sort in an inner city, just how busy that job could be. Like in a small town where I live, where the population's a couple thousand, like, we're lucky to hear the sirens go off once a week. Couldn't imagine, you know, just, like, I love the city in the sense that, you know, like, citizens, heavy population or heavy traffic doesn't bother me at all, but I can only imagine for, you know, workers of that kind, how busy and long some days could be. Love and likes on the stream. Appreciate you guys smashing the like button tonight. Done a great job with that in recent, really, months. Ever since we hit the new year, you guys have been doing an awesome job with hitting that like button. We've had really about 20 to 30 likes every stream, whether it seems to be a Busch race, a truck race at the time before we finished the Truck Series season, Cup Series, and either game. This last weekend, we had a live stream where we had well over 100 likes and as many as 400 people watching our live commentary, a little over 400 people watching the live commentary of the Las Vegas Cup races last weekend, so greatly appreciate all you guys coming out once again, or that were already there this weekend, and can't wait for this Sunday's race at Phoenix. We'll be doing live commentary on the channel once again. Same start time, 3:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Pre-race at 2:30, and the post-race immediately following the Cup race on Sunday. Don't forget, for those of you that live in a state that has daylight savings, we're losing an hour of sleep this weekend, ladies and gents. Bright side is that the sun's going to be out an extra hour during the day, so that's nice. Instead of getting dark shortly after I get home from work, have that extra hour of daylight, might be able to start playing 9 holes once it warms up. Problem is, just because it's daylight savings, it hasn't really warmed up much. It's still been in the mid-40s for the most part. We had a couple days where it was in the 70s, but one day it was super windy, and then the next day it was rainy, so I should say it was 72 one day, and then it was like 60-something the next day. Low 60s. Warming up for golf, but not with the conditions that it was. Wasn't going to be able to play. Wow, we just jumped up to 16 likes just like that. Appreciate it, guys. See, that's what I mean. You guys are doing an awesome job. Mr. You Bastard, welcome to the stream. Restall Cup, welcome as well. For those of you just tuning in, we are at lap 61. We've had one caution today. Doug Thompson hit the tire barrier at the front of the pit road entrance, bringing out our first caution of the day, and that was at lap 39. Everybody pit during the caution flag, so we can go quite a ways on fuel. This is by far the largest lead of the race for Greg Biffle, a 7.5-second lead. Nobody's been this far ahead of the field up to this point. He's really pulling away after the restart, because the first 39 laps leading up to that first caution flag, at the time of the caution, he only had an 0.8 of a second lead. He only had as much as a 2.5-second lead at one point the first 39 laps. So lap traffic on the inside of the inside line of the lead lap cars coming out of the restart definitely played a factor and allowed for Greg Biffle to pull away once he did get to the lead. Yeah, it's definitely got its advantages and disadvantages. I'm just thankful I've never had to work on a day that there is daylight savings. I think that would suck. I mean, unless you worked second shift. I guess if you worked like a night shift that night, you would be working one less hour, but still getting paid for it, so that'd be pretty cool. But like if I had to work that morning, thank goodness I don't work Sundays. Lock up of the tires once again. Biffle's been doing that quite a bit today. Lucky that he got a caution at lap 39. He was able to pit, and then everybody else went with him. He did lose a spot on pit road, but he got to the lead a lap after the restart. So it definitely didn't take long to get back out in front and obviously pull away. Really the first time today right after that. Get comfortable now, but don't get too comfortable, because lap traffic will be coming before you know it if we stay green long enough, and obviously we're going to have a couple more pit stops yet. We have a long ways to go in this race, so it is far from over. Greg Biffle's just got to keep doing what he's doing. That is log in laps led, and continue to just stay alert in case anything crazy or catastrophic ends up happening. Biffle's gotten a bit loose into turn 1 a few times today already as well also, just like that last lap through. .2 second lead into turns 4, 5, and 6. About to max out those skill points before we even get to the halfway mark in this race at this pace. Only a third of the way home. Race has already gone on for almost an hour. So we're pacing it to be right around 3 hours. Maybe just a little less than that. But again, for a Busch Series race, or slash, I guess now would be an Xfinity race, it's a pretty long Busch slash Xfinity race. Again, this race, although it's long for a Busch Series race, it doesn't feel that long compared to the Cup Series races we've done on live streams on the channel. It's about the same length as it. The problem is when we get to the Cup Series at Old Spice Speedway, the Cup race is even longer by 133 laps. That race is going to go on well over 4 hours. I can already guarantee that. I don't know if we'll break our Talladega record from the Talladega road course of 5 hours and 6 minutes or 16 minutes, whatever it was. Over 5 hours. Guess depends on how many cautions we get at the Old Spice Speedway that day. Not a track that brings out a lot of them, but we do see a few. Again, we have seen one already tonight. My favorite NASCAR game is this one. NASCAR Chase for the Cup 2005. Fan favorite ever since I had it when I was a kid, probably when the game came out. NASCAR Thunder 04 is up there. I didn't play it when I was younger at all. Really, the first time I really ever played it was on the channel when I did that playthrough. It was definitely a lot of fun, but this one just gives me more of a nostalgia act just for the sake that this is the game I played the most growing up. I've never played NR 2003. I haven't had like a PC, I guess, compatible or capable enough to be able to run that. Because I don't believe it's console, is it? I don't think that's a console game. But a lot of people seem to like that one, though. Be careful, lap traffic cost me a stage win. At least you're racing for the championship, though, so it's not like the stages matter as much. For your sake. No stages here, but obviously Biffle struggled in lap traffic before that first caution earlier. He's going to have to get through it a lot better this time around. The good news is he only had a 2.5 second lead the last time he had to get into lap traffic, and then his lead started dwindling. In this case, he's got a 9.5 second lead and growing. And he's still got a little bit before he catches any lap cars. Probably going to get that lead out to about 12 seconds before he even catches another lap car. So halfway on fuel for Biffle. We went green at lap 42, which means we've gone about 29 laps, which on pace would mean that Biffle could go about 58 laps roughly on a full tank of fuel. Guesstimated, of course. So going green at lap 42, 58 laps from there would get us to lap 110. I do my math correctly. No, I did not do my math correctly. Be lap 100. Excuse me, lap 100 would be 58 laps. So it's definitely a two-stop race to the end. These guys are going to have to take it nearly the full fuel run both times just to be able to make it on 2 more stops. Probably go 54, 55 laps and have to pit from there if you're going to want to make it. Again, that's not even counting, though, any other cautions we get. The good news with it being a road course is you can short pit and stay on the lead lap. So it's not a bad decision. The time comes for that kind of a call. Biffle doesn't plan on doing it, though, right now. At least not this run, not with this big of a lead. Pretty long pit road here as well, as it kind of stretches to the outside in turn 8, which is a U-turn. And it's quite a ways up there. Plus the slow pit road speed. Entry speed is 70 miles an hour like at every other track, though, in this game. So that part of it doesn't matter much. So those tires in turn 1 still able to hook the bottom fairly well, all things considered. Yeah, I never played NASCAR Thunder in 2003 either. Not that I can remember. There's a lot of NASCAR games I haven't played. I had very few games in general growing up. I mean, I had, you know, your sports-related games, but I wasn't getting them every single year. The only game I got on a somewhat yearly basis was Madden. And then every couple NASCAR games I'd get. I didn't get any of the Utechnics games, but as far as like the EA Sports game, I would have had Thunder 02 was my first game. Had Chase for the Cup 05, 06, 07, and then I didn't have 08, 09. I didn't have another NASCAR game between 07 and then NASCAR Heat Evolution. That's because I bought that on my own with my own money. But yeah, like growing up as a kid, I basically played 05 and 07 my entire childhood into teenage years. I don't think I was missing out on a lot. There's probably a couple games in there. Like maybe there's some of the good, I know I've heard at least from some of the fan base that 14 and 15 are pretty good NASCAR games. Have another EMS goal. Busy night for you guys. Bit of a power slide into turn 3 for Biffle. Still power sliding on his way off the exit of the corner, too. So it's not Barry Wilder in the 108, by the way. It's Jared Holmes in the 108 car. So as Biffle closes in on Holmes. Oh, Holmes got a bit loose in turn 1. Biffle closed in a ton through turns 1 and 2, and he should be able to make the pass in turn 3 using the apron on the bottom of the track, and he'll easily make the pass. So Biffle in lap traffic for the second time today. We had a caution not too far into lap traffic the first go around. We'll see what'll happen this time around. Granted, we're past halfway through the fuel run. Okay, that lap time is only about a little over 0.3 of a second off his fastest of the race. The lap before that, though, he was about 0.8 of a second off his fastest time. That was before he even got into lap traffic. Really close to that inside wall in turn 3. Biffle trying to get all that pavement he can to make the pass on the 117. Does it cleanly. I think that's Doug Thompson just up ahead in the 121. Who brought out that first caution of the day. Biffle closes on both of those drivers going side by side right in front of him. Cuts down to the bottom in the center of the corner. Gets a decent drive off. And he will lap them both. Oh, we'll crossover, but to the outside for Westbury. Biffle will have the advantage on the bottom, and he'll stay clear. Westbury almost lost a position in the process as well. He's battling for it. First car one lap down, which again does not get the free pass in this game, in the Busch Series at least. Cup Series it does, Busch Series it does not. And there aren't even any cautions in the Modified Series. Trey Murray, Cody Holt would be the next two drivers. Biffle going 3 wide, locks the tires up a bit. Under Murray and Holt, clears them both. Biffle definitely getting through lap traffic a lot better this go around than what he did earlier, though there's a lot less pressure on him with that 9.5 second lead as well. I don't think I've watched a full episode of Survivor. Never got into shows like that. I guess it's technically reality shows. I don't think I've ever really watched a reality show. I mean, it's like a reality game show, I guess, but I've still never watched a reality show of any kind from start to finish as far as like a series is concerned. Even a season for that matter. Alright, see you, Mikey. Thanks for stopping by. Good luck out there. More tire lockage. A shake-up by the car that Biffle is trying to get around. Drew Campbell in the 131. Side by side across the bridge and now into the shaded turn 1. Biffle on the bottom, Campbell on the outside. Racing each other clean though, and they're still side by side off the exit of turn 2. Into turn 3, Biffle with the advantage down on the apron, and he'll pull clear, and he'll actually get around Mike Bliss in the 20 car for Joe Gibbs Racing as well. So now Mike Bliss is the first car one lap down. Notice that Biffle's lead has not grown since he hit lap traffic. It's pretty much stayed about the same. Bliss just ran right into the left rear of Greg Biffle in turn 8. Biffle hangs onto his race car. That's going to cost him a bit of time as well. Bliss was driving it hard trying to get his lap back. And it may cost him a position as well, as he's side by side getting back into turn 1, it looks like. And he'll be able to defend and hold on to his position. Biffle's lead dropped about 0.4 of a second that last lap just because of the contact in turn 8 from Bliss. Wheel hop. Biffle's downshifting. Sorry. Turn 8's definitely been his Achilles heel in this race today. Turn 3's definitely been his best corner, which is strange considering that they're almost two identical and symmetrical corners for one another. Both have a U-turn. Notice in the second half of a tire stint, turn 1's getting more treacherous for Biffle as well, more so on the braking and corner entry. Quarter take of gas left for Biffle. Again, at the furthest he can make it is lap 100. You might want to pit at lap 99, 98 just to be safe. He'll be able to make it on 2 stops even if he does pit that soon into the run, then pits about lap 55, 56 in the next run. He'll be plenty good on fuel. Still have it be a 3-stopper. Again, he gets loose in turn 1. Nick Richardson hogging the inside in turn 2 as Biffle slides off the exit of that corner. Biffle's definitely struggling on old tires, where it definitely seems as if the cars inside the top 5 that are not Greg Biffle tend to struggle on the longer run. We saw that earlier and we're seeing it now. Biffle again trying to lock him up in turn 8. Campbell on the outside. Biffle cannot pull clear. Campbell trying to side draft the right rear corner panel of Biffle. Biffle clear into turn 1, but he slides a bit. Campbell stays on the track. He almost went wide in turn 2. Yeah, it really is sad that baseball hasn't come to an agreement yet. Yeah, during the spring and summer, I would always watch the Tigers games, like if I get off of work. Thursdays were nice last year because I don't work Thursday, so if they had a travel game on a Thursday afternoon, I'd be able to watch it. I'd like to go to a couple games too if I can. I only went to one Tigers game last year. It wasn't even in Detroit. It was in Cleveland at the beginning of the season. It was like the 2nd or 3rd series of the year. Like a 60-degree afternoon on a Sunday. And Martinsville was supposed to race at night the night before, so I was like, yeah, what the heck, I'll go. And the Martinsville race ended up getting rained out. Luckily, it had a little bit later of a start time, so I was kind of like glanced over watching it on the way back to my house, and then I caught the final 2 stages when I got home. Biffle looking to pass out Wiggins. Wiggins beats him back through the shifts. Biffle with the advantage on the bottom, gets back alongside Wiggins. Trying to side draft him a bit, that time in turn 7. Wiggins pulls clear into turn 8. Biffle charges hard on the bottom, a little too hard, locks the tires up. But he'll clear Wiggins with ease still. 8.5 second lead, 90 laps complete, still just the 1 yellow today at the Old Spice Speedway. I think we're going to see more weeks postponed because they haven't had any sort of spring training yet. And that was the whole thing with the pandemic. When they were coming back from that season, it was like, okay, when are they going to get started? Because they're going to need about a month beforehand to get some sort of practice or scrimmages in. So you'd assume that they're going to have about a month of the same thing this year before the season starts, considering they haven't had any sort of training yet, as a team at least. I would not be surprised if we missed more than just those first 3 weeks at this point. I'd actually be more surprised if that's all that gets postponed at this rate. Big slide by Biffle, but he slides up in front of the 119. Making a pass for position. Haven't seen anybody try to make the dive onto pit road yet. Green flag pit stop's going to be interesting here at Old Spice Speedway. Consider we haven't had it yet. Biffle nearly gets turned in turn 8 by the 119 car of Eddie Hammock, who uses a bump and run to get back on the lead lap. That was aggressive to say the least. Big block by Hammock. Biffle to the inside in turn 3. And he'll pass him straight up once again. This time he has a lot better drive off, and he should be able to pull away from Hammock. And it looks like Hammock may be pitting this time, and he does. So Hammock pits. It looks like Craig Miller is also in the pit lane, and a lot of other drivers are currently on pit road for their second stop of the day. First green flag stop of the race at lap 93. I mean, they'll get baseball in eventually. Even if it's a half a season they miss, they'll get it in eventually. I mean, baseball's a long season. If they could play 60 games in 1 year 2 years ago, then they can, you know, that's probably their minimum, bare minimum of what it would take to get a season in. Be 60 to 90 games. Tiny Buchanan into the pits. Biffle going to stay out longer, try to get as many laps logged in, led as possible. Could lap quite a few drivers if we do see a caution as well. Would only help his chances even further. Obviously, he's already got a really fast car as it is. See the lap traffic merging onto the racetrack. Right in front of the Biff. A slide job on Wiggins. Wiggins is 2 laps down. He desperately wants to get this first lap back if he can help it. He drove it in pretty deep. He just couldn't get to the back bumper of the 60. I don't know if he was intending on using the bumper or not. Seen a couple drivers on random occasions try to put the bumper to Biffle. Laps Drew Campbell again as Campbell comes out of the pits. We'll go a second lap down for the time being. Big slide in turn 3. It's a lot harder to hold that apron now that all 4 tires are in the yellow. The tire indicator. Cart's wanting to slide a bit more frequently than what it was before. More of the leaders coming in, and that's what's going to extend Biffle's lead quite a bit. So you can definitely tell whoever was in second place just pit that last time by. Biffle really loose into turn 1. He can't wait to get new tires. I don't think he's going to make any adjustment changes. There's Eddie Hammock Put the bumper to Biffle right before Hammock had pit earlier. Didn't have him cleared. He'll drag strip across the bridge, and now he'll have him clear. Hammock overdrives turn 1, it looked like. No, he did not. Actually, he drove it in deep and got it to stick. He gets to the inside of Biffle in turn 2. Biffle continues to race him hard into turn 3 and has him cleared still. Biffle will stay out this time by to lap 99. More lead lap cars on the way to the pit lane. Locks him up a bit more in turn 8. Greg Biffle has a 1-lap lead on the field at lap 99. But he is the last car that still has to make his green flag pit stop. Biffle coming into the pits. Hauling too. 70 miles an hour is that pit road speed limit. Doesn't want to speed, but he tried to carry as much as he could, and boy was he carrying quite a bit. He got it down to 63 miles an hour at the commitment line, though. The speed limit is 70. 4 tires of fuel for the 60 team once again. The second stop of the day. He'll have 2 sets of tires left at the end of the race from now. And we'll get to see the Mr. Clean crew go to work for the second time, this time under green flag conditions. And no mistakes on the first stop, but they did lose a spot, falling from first to second for that first and only restart and caution we have had so far today. We'll be halfway when Biffle makes his way out of the pit lane. We'll see how much of that lead he could have lost with pitting a couple laps after the rest of the leaders. About 2 to 3 laps before Biffle's when they pit. So we'll be officially halfway at the start-finish line this time by. Biffle has some fresh tires again, so he's feeling good. It actually looks as if Biffle's got a bigger lead now than what he had even before the rest of the field pit. It was 8.5 seconds, and now it's about 11 3/4 of a second. About 11.5 seconds ahead of the field as Biffle's gotten up to speed. That's insane. Now it's up to 12. Halfway home. Guess we're kind of on pace for 3 cautions still. Definitely the longest of the 2 green flag runs so far. This one has been 58 laps now. Again, Biffle should be able to make it on one more stop. It's going to depend how the cautions obviously play out as well. Interesting dilemma, though, if we do see a caution of whether or not Biffle will pit under the yellow. It's obviously going to depend on how many laps we have left also. Biffle pulling away with the short run speed once again, also 13 seconds ahead. It has been no challenge since that last restart. So ideally to even have a shot to make it to the end of this race by pitting under the caution, if we were to get another one, We would have to have around 61 laps to go, because then we go green with about 58 laps left. And that would be where the window would open up for Biffle. And where he'd definitely have to pit if we got a caution. If we get a caution before that, it's going to be up to him on whether or not he'll want to pit. Potentially give up track position. He's got 2 sets of tires left. So if he were to pit, knowing he'd have to pit one more time to the end of the race, he'd at least have a set of tires he could throw on still. He's going to clinch the most laps led here before long as well. Should have it clinched, honestly, within the next few laps, considering he's led all but about 5 or 6 laps so far. So at least that part of the race he can kind of put off to the side. He knows he'll be getting 10 bonus points. No matter how many more laps he leads, he would end up clinching the most laps led for the 10 bonus point day. The max points day would come, obviously, if he would win. Not sure who that is with Biffle that's racing him really hard, trying to stay on the lead lap, but they're putting up a bit of a fight in that 124 car. Return 2, a bit of contact. Biffle gonna hang on. Outside of that little bit of contact on a couple hits to the back of the car that was blowing up of the 86 of Shane Kirkland right before that first caution came out ahead of everybody. Outside of those couple hard hits to Kirkland, he has literally probably barely made contact with anybody else. A couple nudges here and there. He got bumped and ran on a couple times. I guess as well in the left rear corner panel in turn 8. By Eddie Hamlock, and then also by, I'm trying to think who else did it. Mike Bliss in the 20. The defenders are, for the most part, pretty clean. Greg Biffle's Charter Ford. Not that time, but the lap before, Greg Biffle had clinched the most laps led. So we mentioned he was getting close. He definitely has clinched the most laps now. 152 car out in the grass in turn 2. He hit the inside wall on corner entry, and that's what ricocheted him a bit wide. Do much better on road courses when you do manual transmission? Yeah, usually I do too. I just don't do it for the EA Sports games. With no stability, I have a hard enough time trying to control this thing. It just doesn't always shift when I want to. Some of it might be my controllers I have. But I've noticed even when I'm trying to share draft with R2 or L2, or R1, L1, and sometimes it'll, no, yeah, I had it right, R2 or L2, that sometimes it'll do it when I press it the first time. Sometimes I have to press it like 5 times, and sometimes I'll lose like the share draft if it's a super speedway before I can even catch any draft. So it's kind of like that with the shifting too, so that's why I just have it turned off. Andy Brown in the 83 car going to go a lap down at the hands of Greg Biffle. Biffle's got over a 16.5 second lead right now, but still 92 laps to go, and we are still one pit stop out from the end of the race as well, so plenty of time left. Biffle just going to continue to run his own race. He's been very clean so far as he's trying to find his way back to victory lane after a 19th place finish last night at the Levi Strauss Signature Speedway. Lost a little bit of his points lead. He still has a 163-point lead over Kyle Busch coming into the race today. Busch does have 5 bonus points. He started on the pole, led the first couple laps. Hasn't led since, though. We haven't even seen him, really, since that first caution came out when he was in second place. Not sure where he's at now, if he's even still in the race. Who knows? Maybe he's DNF'd already. We haven't seen him in a while, and as fast as he was that first run, and Biffle hasn't made any adjustments, either Busch could have made a very bad adjustment, or he's just been stuck back in traffic and hasn't been able to get back up to second place yet. Even 17.5 seconds is an awfully hard and quite a ways back to try and run somebody down if it does stay green for these final 90 laps. So it's pretty much what it's going to boil down to is, will we get a caution? Greg Biffle has led over 700 laps. He needed to lead 97 today to get to 700 laps led on this Busch Series season, and he's led over 100 so far, and he's led all but 5 or 6 laps. And that's at a Busch Series season where the laps aren't as many as the Cup side, except for this race, considering it's a road course. Obviously, there's a lot today, but most of the other races are between 200 and 300 miles. Contact from Gene Martin in the 107. He'll remain a lap down. Casey Atwood's the next lap car in the 14. Navy paint scheme up ahead of Biffle. With a run on Atwood. Pulls out a line down to the bottom. Atwood tried to pinch him, and then Atwood overruns the center of the corner. He goes wide, and Biffle's clear off of turn 8. And now he'll throw a block as they run to the bridge. All the way down on the inside. Atwood almost gets into the back bumper of the 60. He's pushing hard. Desperately trying to get his lap back. Biffle gaps him quite a bit, though, in turn 3. And Atwood's going to continue to likely lose more time to the fastest car in the field all day long, Greg Biffle. By the way, that last lap was Greg Biffle's fastest lap of the race, a 46.704. About 15 laps, 16 laps or so on these tires. Pitted at lap 99. Oh, we got a car blowing up. Oh, man, and Greg Biffle nearly smoked one of the lap cars that were checking up. For whoever it was that was blowing up on the inside of turn 3. Biffle's been taking that apron all day long. He didn't that time. Hopefully that car can get back to pit road before we see a potential second caution of the race. Caution is out. No, we won't. Number 2 at lap 116, and that 20.5 second lead for Greg Biffle has just gone right out the window. And it looks like Casey Atwood came to a stop as the lap car who was up in smoke was trying to transition to the outside of the track where the pit road was. It was the 103 car that was up in smoke. And he pulled right across Casey Atwood, and Atwood had nowhere to go. So that will bring out a caution. Greg Biffle is going to hit pit road for the 3rd time today. That will give him 1 set of tires left to the end of the race. He's not going to be able to make it on fuel from here. Nobody else will pit. So it's going to depend on how many cars have pitted so far, or sorry, have gone a lap down so far, because Greg Biffle is going to be the only lead lap car that is going to make his way onto pit road this time during the caution. And he's going to be about 20 to 22 laps shy on fuel yet, so this is a big, big decision. By pitting now, he's putting himself back in traffic for really the first time today. He's already clinched the most laps, so he's going to take on fresh tires compared to the rest of the field. He already had the fastest car as it was. He's going to try to tear right through here. Hopefully as cleanly as he possibly can as well. That's the big thing. We know how crazy these restarts can be, especially on this road course. Turns 1 and 2, it's going to be wild. And he's going to be on the outside lane with all the lap cars lining up on the inside. So 1 set of tires left at the end of the race for Biffle. He still has to pit 1 more time for fuel. And we'll see. About to go green, and we are back underway at the Old Spice Speedway. 81 laps to go. And they're already 3 wide off the start as they go down the main straight. They're going to cross the bridge, and hopefully everybody makes it into turn 1. Biffle's in the 17th position right now, and he nearly gets turned in turn 1. There was a car underneath him. He did kind of squeeze him into the wall a little bit. That might have been partially Biffle's fault. Desperately trying to protect the bottom. And maybe a little too desperate there. Terry Cook, who was about to go a lap down before the caution, still in the lead lap. That was a saving grace yellow for him. Biffle goes to the bottom, 3 wide. Look at the fresh tires eat. Into turn 8. Bunch of 3 wide passes. He's up to 13th, and he probably passed 5 or 6 lap cars in that transition as well. JJ Yaley has taken the race lead for the first time today following the restart. Look at Biffle mowing through the traffic right now. Inside, outside, it doesn't matter. He's going to get around the second place driver in points, Kyle Busch. The pole sitter of today's race. Clears him in turn 3. He's underneath Ron Hornaday in the 2 now for position. That would be for 11th. Biffle not clear yet. Into turn 8. 3 wide underneath Ashton Lewis, who is stuck in the middle lane there. Biffle hooks up well. And he's up to 9th place already. He's getting 8 spots in 2 laps. Restarted 17th. Ooh, contact with Hermie Sadler off of turn 2. Sadler might get stuck on the outside now, unfortunately. He was trying to get down to the bottom. No, he does get down to the bottom still. Surprised he was able to find his way down there. Even with the contact from Biffle before that. David Green now has cycled to the lead. Getting around Yaley as they battle up there, trying to get all the bonus points they can for leading at least 1 lap before Biffle can get up there and spoil the party, because at this rate, he is going to get there soon. So Yaley got 5 bonus points since the restart. David Green's now got 5 bonus points, leading that last lap since the restart. The outside of Gene Martin in turn 2. He'll be on the inside now to clear him into turn 3. He's underneath Casey Atwood as well, and he'll duck in line behind the 32 of Stremme. Into turn 8. Biffle underneath the 32 of Stremme. He'll make the pass. Now to the inside of the 64 car. Gets the pole, beats him through the shifts, and the fresh tires just grab a lot earlier for him to get back to the gas much sooner than the drivers on these older tires. And they only have about 20 laps on their tires, but compared to Biffle, who has 20 lap fresher tires on a road course, 20 lap fresher tires is a major difference, as you're seeing right here. He's already up to 4th place. And that did not take long at all. Now, David Green is definitely pulling away from Yaley after taking the lead. And that will be the hardest car to pass of all of these, considering Green's got the clean air. But still, though, that 20 lap fresher tire difference, once Biffle gets there, it's game over. Set of corners through turns 1 and 2. Down to the bottom into turn 3. Biffle makes the pass for 3rd. He's quickly underneath Yaley for 2nd. A 2-for-1 special. Biffle's up to P2. And he's only about 6 to 7 car lengths behind race leader David Green. Green should lead this next lap, but I doubt he's going to be in the lead the following time by back to the start-finish line. Best thing now is we get a caution right before Biffle takes the lead. I doubt that that's going to happen, though. That'd be beautifully timed for David Green's sake and perspective. Big slide on entry into 3. And power sliding his way around Green for the lead is Greg Biffle. And Green pops the inside wall, looked like into turn 5, trying to get back to the inside of the 60, and he couldn't do it. Biffle holding on strong. David Green going to charge hard. On the outside, he's going to try to... No, he couldn't even get the turn in the car at all there. He stayed high and couldn't get the car to pull down to the bottom. So another lead change at the line. Greg Biffle back out in front for the 3rd different time today at the Old Spice Speedway. Currently 74 laps to go. So restarted 17th. Where he was the only lead lap car to pit during that last caution. Everybody else stayed out, so he lost the track position, but on 20 lap fresher tires, he quickly charges back through the field. And we'll go right back to pulling away again. So we're right back in the same situation we were. And the benefit for a few other drivers, they were able to lead some laps where before they weren't looking like they were going to without a chance like that. Like J.J. Yaley and David Green. We haven't really seen up in the front portion of the field all day until then. So they were able to save a few more laps of fuel during the caution. It might see some drivers pitting closer to 40 to go at the most, but that's at the very most. I still don't think they can even go that far. They pitted a couple laps even before Biffle, really between laps 95 and 98, really. It's where we saw everybody else pit. Biffle pitted at lap 99 under green, and then again pitted during that yellow. And the main thing now is Biffle's got 1 set of tires left at the end of the race. The only way this could really hurt him is if we see a couple more cautions in this one. We've only seen 2 so far, but if we see, say, maybe 2 or 3 more and they pit under every caution, Biffle can only pit under 1 more. So he's going to have to pick and choose his battles wisely. If they're not within the fuel window to the end of the race, he's definitely going to have to stay out and try to hold on older tires. So it's a bit of a gamble. Yeah, he had to restart at the back of the pack. That's one gamble, but he got through there really clean. I don't even think he made contact with another car all the way through. Again, we'll just have to see how it plays out. I mean, we had almost a 80-lap green flag run between cautions there. If we did stay green to the end of the race, this would be about a 79-lap green flag run to the finish, which would be, by 1 lap, the longest green flag run of the race. So by the trends, the trends based off of this race alone at the Old Spice Speedway today, that we're likely to get 1 more caution. At least 1 more. Gonna alternate through the different camera angles for about the next dozen laps once again for the second and final time here tonight. Race is closing in on the 2-hour mark. If it were a normal Busch Series race, it would be either already done or just getting to the finish. But we still have about another third of this race left to go. We'll have 68 laps left at the start-finish line. A little over 33% of the race still to go. Full out to about a 2.8 to 2.9 second lead. Obviously a lot of clean air in front of him, plus the fresh tires. He's just going to continue to pull away. Big thing is when we see everybody pit, he can either pit to try not to lose too much time, or he can stay out, hope for a caution to trap the field a lap down and just pit during the caution flag, which is probably what he's going to end up doing. I mean, why short pit if you have a fast enough car anyway? I'll just end up having to come back through the field on fresher tires again those final 30 to 40 laps. But at least you definitely have time to be able to do it. Plus, again, if we did get a late yellow after everybody makes a green flag stop, Biffle wouldn't be able to pit again, for tires at least. So there's probably no incentive for him to pit early. The rear seen better days. Yeah, well, that was from Eddie Hammock and Mike Bliss. They ran into the left rear corner panel. I got bumped and ran on twice in turn 8. That's the only time we've had contact in the back of the car today. And I think I've only made contact with the front of the car twice, and that was on Shane Kirkland. That was blowing up right before that first caution back on lap 39. I think Mikey's back in the chat, or has been at least. Welcome back, Mikey. It doesn't seem like Biffle's pulling away as quickly as he was that last green flag run, even though he's got fresher tires. Maybe he is, and I'm just not realizing he is. Which could be the case. A 3.8 second lead. That window should open up in about another 6 to 8 laps. I'm sure we're going to see some drivers pit as soon as they feel they can make it to the end. We usually see at least a couple drivers come down. And considering they pit just shy of lap 100, I'd probably say that the entire field, excluding Greg Biffle, who pitted during that caution, is going to be pitting no more than 20 laps from now. Have to imagine would be the last of the drivers to pit. I'd say 15 to 20 laps and everybody in the field is going to make their final stop. Except for Biffle, who will wait it out a bit longer. Guess Biffle's about 0.3 a second faster a lap. I guess he is pulling pretty good pace still. Back in the 46.6 that last lap. Not quite as fastest of the day, still about 32 hundredths of a second off. His fastest lap of the race. But he cut it pretty close. Been a little bit since he was even back in the 46.6s. Till that last lap. Really locked the tires up that time. And wow, 46.494 that last lap. By far the fastest lap of the race. He jumped up almost 0.2 of a second from the lap prior to that. And that was about a 1/10 and a half faster than his fastest lap of the race prior. What a lap for Greg Biffle. He's really picking him up and putting him down now. This was with about 20 laps on his tires, too. It's not like his tires are extremely fresh. Locked the tires up a bit that time, and he's right back in the 46.6s again. I don't know where that 46.4 came from, but he'll take it, I guess. Oh, we have trouble in turn 8. Car either in the outside wall or at least was in the outside wall, but we continue to stay green. We are right at the edge of the pit window if a caution were to come out right now. But as of right now, we are green. That would definitely put a foil in everybody's strategy. I think Biffle would have to pit if a caution came out now. think we're close enough to that window. It's worth the attempt at this point. Problem is he's going to be the leader, so everybody's either going to do as he does or they're going to do opposite, and he's not going to know until after he makes his decision. The more laps he can get in here, the better before a potential caution. That way he knows for a fact he's that much closer and or better to the good on fuel. 58 laps to go now in this one. It's a good thing for Biffle's sake that caution didn't come out there. Get out of here, Ray Owens. With your VUM today. We don't want your VUM. I seriously have no clue where that 46.4 came from, because we're back in the 47.8s, 40. Oh, he slowed up almost a second a lap all of a sudden. We'll pass halfway through the tire stent. So we have a couple drivers on pit road right now as the window is open to the end of the race. And Biffle is closing in on the lap traffic ahead of him as well. 55 laps remain at the Old Spice Speedway. Clip the inside wall in turn 1. Still all right. A lot more cars in the pit lane that time around. And by word of Greg Biffle's crew chief, some of the leaders are now on their way into the pit lane as well. Go back to the far chase cam for the final 54 laps of the Ice Shanty 300 at the Old Spice Speedway. Biffle should catch the lap traffic. If I had to imagine turn 8, he's probably going to catch the 152 car. 152 to go this time around. More drivers in the pit lane that go around. Biffle hasn't caught the lap traffic quite yet. Maybe it'll be a couple more corners than originally expected. I don't think these drivers ahead of him have made their stop yet. Side by side into turn 1 between the 117 and the 152. Biffle's halfway on fuel where he is at in his fuel run right now. Yeah, the plan now is just to stay out as long as possible in case we catch a caution in the middle of green flag stops before Biffle makes his final stop of the day. It's only going to trap more drivers a lap down, if not potentially the full field a lap down if they all make it through before Biffle. And Biffle's going to be able to go about an extra 20 laps on the last driver, considering he's got 20 lap fresher tires from that last restart. Thanks for getting that bot, Patrick. Well, we got a checkup on the front stretch. Oh, Biffle in the wall in turn 3. I think we had somebody blowing up in front of a pack of cars on the entrance to the pit lane, and they were trying to cut across the tracks through. We saw one of the 2 cautions happen. Biffle cracked the wall in, I believe, turn 6. The inside, but he did that to try and stay off the 56 of Cody Holt in front of him because he was coming in hot. He's still side by side with Mike Bliss right now. These guys are on, well, some of them probably on fresher tires, but not all of them. Biffle wants it to stay green a little bit longer if he can help. Oh, right when I say that, contact with Gene Martin. That just knocked Greg Biffle into the wall now. Going up to block Eddie Hamlock with the loss of momentum for the 60. 49 laps to go this time by at the Old Spice Speedway. Locking the tires up in turn 8. Mike Bliss will get around Cody Holt in turn 8 in front of him. As long as Biffle gets through the lap traffic well enough, he's definitely got the pace to stay out on older tires and hang on to a decent-sized lead. Before the stop started, he had about 9 to 9.5 seconds over second place before whoever was in second at the time in pit. Whether it was still David Green or not, we're not entirely sure. It's like Mike Bliss just pit from behind Biffle that last lap. We've had a couple of near cautions within the last 10 to 15 laps. Dark Crypto, welcome to the stream. We're pulling up with a block. Turns 1 and 2 on Gene Martin. Just over 2 hours into this race today. Again, 200 laps at Old Spice Speedway. This is a 1.5 mile road course. Biffle having to check up into turn 1 with some of the lap cars in front of him coming out of the pit lane. Wheel hop into turn 2 on the downshift. Still kind of partially checking up for those lap cars in front of him as well. Oh, Biffle nearly gets cleaned out from behind. I don't know who that was that hit him. Be on the outside in turn 1 on Brantley. Brantley holds on to the position. Now Biffle's on the outside in turn 2. Not gonna be able to make a pass there, but that'll set him up to get to the inside in his best corner in turn 3. Make the pass on him. And it looks like he'll be able to pass Tiny Buchanan as well. We'll contact with Buchanan, though. More of the lead lap cars into the pit lane, as we'll have 45 laps to go at the line for Greg Biffle. Brantley overdrives turn 8. Hangs on to it, though. Like where NASCAR's headed in 2022. I think Phoenix is going to put on a show. Yeah, first short track points race of the season, at least. Curious to see what the next-gen cars will do. Remember, it was stated even before all the testing that the next-gen car was likely going to drive better on short tracks and road courses in general. So here's our first traditional short track. I say traditional because the Busch Clash is kind of a makeshift race. In general, it only had half the field. It was only 150 laps on a quarter-mile racetrack. It's not really like a... And we're close. I mean, even truck races are typically longer than that. They run 200 laps at Bristol, and that's a half mile, so far different as far as the strategy of the race and then the racing itself. Be interesting to see what will come about. We're almost to 20 likes. Looks like we're at 18 likes on the stream, so definitely hit the like button if you haven't already. Of course, subscribe for more daily NASCAR content as well. Right here on the channel. Live realistic commentary like you're seeing tonight for this race with other races, whether they are real NASCAR races on the weekend or the video game races during the week. Like we had this last off season as well. Lock up of the tires. Turn number 8 once again for Biffle. It's in the back half of his tire run as it is. He's got a 1-lap lead on the field. And it'll stay that way until Biffle makes his final stop of the day. Remember, he's only got 1 set of tires left. He's already pitted 3 times. He's pitted during both cautions we've had, and then he had a green flag stop at lap 99. Everybody else can make it on field to the end from now to the finish. This is going to be a brilliant strategy call, though, if we do end up getting a caution before Biffle pits. We get it afterwards. At least they'll have fresher tires than everybody else to the end if they stay out. Just going to have to hope for a clean stop. So far, the Mr. Clean crew is 3 for 3 on clean stops in this race today. Nixon going to go a lap down as well. 40 laps to go at the line. Santiago Kid, welcome to the stream. Never seen a track like this before. Think Chase will win? Or are you talking about on Sunday? He's been good at Phoenix the last couple of years. Both the spring and the fall. Denny Hamlin's been pretty good there in recent years. Kevin Harvick hasn't been great with the next gen car, but he's the all-time winningest driver at Phoenix. Ryan Blaney's had some good runs there in the last couple seasons. Truex did really well in both races there last season. And he's probably been the most consistent Toyota driver so far through the first 3 races. Busch is right there with him, but I'd probably put Truex a tiny bit ahead. I think Truex is second in points anyway, so he's been one of the most consistent drivers in general through the first 3 races this year, not just the Toyota camp. Big slide. Beautiful, locking it down into turn 1. A few more viewers have just tuned in here over the last couple of minutes. If you are just tuning in and wondering why Greg Biffle's got a 1-lap lead on the field, it's because he has not made his final pit stop in this race yet. He has clinched the most laps led, and he can go a little bit further on fuel from where he's at right now as they come to 38 laps to go. The idea is to hope for a caution to trap the field a lap down and make it a no contest to the end of the race. Biffle's only got the 1 set of tires left to the end, so the longer he stays out, the fresher tires he'll have to the end of the race, in case we get a yellow, even if it's after he pits. So that way, if the rest of the field pits behind him, they're going to have fresher tires. At least they're not going to be as old of tires compared to the rest of the field versus if he were to pit with the rest of the field about 10 to 15 laps ago, and counting, of course. Yeah, you're a Bowman fan, aren't you? Congratulations on your driver winning this last weekend. Assuming that is the case. It's got to be a good feeling this early in the year to get a win. Really get your confidence up as a fan. Maybe how the rest of the season can continue on. Quarter tank of gas left for Biffle. He's been sliding around a lot more on older tires these last probably 2 to 3 laps especially. Car's fishtailing quite a bit in the middle of the corners. Locking him up into turn 8. It's going to wear him out even more. One like away from 20. I think we can get over that, but 20 to 30 has been that consistent stretch for the video game live streams at least. There's that right front in the yellow. I'm surprised it didn't start to go a little bit sooner in the run, to be completely honest. Always a huge fan of the 48. I know you talk about him and then Jimmy Johnson a lot too when we're doing these streams. That's all I wondered. Traffic itself hasn't been bad really since the rest of the field pit. Biffle's had quite a bit of clean air. Realistically, he's only got about 2 or 3 cars in front of him, then he's going to have a giant gap again. He's still got a decent gap even before the next lap car. It'll probably be another couple laps before he catches him. 33 to go. There it is, 20 likes in the stream now. Awesome job tonight, guys. And we've got some competition in the YouTube family tonight, so the stream numbers are down a bit. NASCAR Weekly Podcast going on right now, and maybe some other NASCAR YouTube streams as well. Got the fake Jimmy Johnson in the chat. Right side tires in the yellow now for Biffle. Left side's probably going to be going here pretty shortly as well, I'd have to imagine. Left front will probably be the last one to go for whatever reason, because that's what was the last one to go each of the last 2 times he's had his tires getting very worn towards the end of the run. Yeah, there he goes. Right as I was talking about it, the left rear does get down into that midly worn state. .30 laps to go at the line. Dirt tracking it through turns 1 and 2 that time for Biffle, sliding both ways. Still doing a good job keeping the car on the racetrack and keeping it off the wall. He's only hit the wall twice today. Both of the times were because of undercutting the corner. Clipping it on entry. Hasn't gotten into the outside wall once. Like to keep it that way. Very little contact again throughout in this one. It seems like though the times that contact has happened to him, it's been kind of significant. Not enough to where he was at risk of severely damaging the car and slowing it down in that case, with potentially wrecking a couple times. Andy Brown in the 83 will be the next lap car. Biffle locks the front tires up a bit into turn 3, but he'll clear Brown off the exit of the corner, still beating him back to the gas. Take right sides only. I would, but I have such a big lead. I'm just going to take 4, because just in case there's a caution, because I can't pit again to the end of this race if we get a yellow. We've gone a long time since the last caution so far. And my prediction was 3 coming into the night. We've had 2 so far. Been a little bit more tame than what I was originally expecting. But as the laps wind down, the drivers anywhere else around the field are only going to drive more and more aggressively to the end, trying to get every position they can. Left front's in the yellow, so all 4 tires. bit on the worn side. Sliding a bit more in turn 3 again. Curious to see what those lap times are going to look like at the end of the race once he puts 4 fresh tires back on the car one final time, because he did run his fastest lap of a 46.494 during this current fuel and tire stint since the restart. I don't know how he got that far. He never even ran a lap in the 46.5s, but he jumped up into the 46.4s for 1 lap. And obviously his pace right now is about 1.5 seconds off at this point in the run. Fuel tank almost dry for Biffle. 25 laps left at the line. Oof. Like the car was gonna spin out in turn 1. Got a little loose and never stopped sliding until he pretty much got into the point in turn 2 where he was going to have to start turning the car back to the right. He was already turning that direction. Kind of let it work itself out. Biffle will pit this time by with 24 laps to go. Not going to risk it any further on fuel. R6, welcome to the stream. I did see that paint scheme also you sent to me, Davion. I like the touch with the MRN and the KRC logos right next to each other on the back bumper. That was pretty cool. Second green flag stop of the day. 2 pit stops under caution so far for Greg Biffle as well, as slides the tires a bit, trying to get the car to slow up to 66 miles an hour into the pit lane. Speed limit is 70. 4 tires and fuel, no adjustments for the 60 team. 24 laps to go, 23 laps left when he makes his way out of the pit lane. He didn't get the caution. He was kind of hoping for staying out a lot longer than everybody else. Now we'll just have to see how big that lead will be, if he still has the lead. Had a lot of clean traffic. I think his pace was quick enough to at least hold on to the lead, and now he's got fresher tires. So even if he does lose the lead, he'll should be able to drive his way back through and get it back. I doubt he's going to be outside the top 5. Clean stop. Under 16.5 seconds for the Mr. Clean crew. They're 4 for 4 tonight on clean pit stops, hence their name. They did make a mistake for me on the Cup side once during a 2-tire stop at Talladega. But needless to say, they haven't made any in the Busch series, at least since coming aboard the 60 team. As Biffle merges back onto the racetrack in turn 1, he still has the race lead. We'll have to see how big that lead is once he gets back to the start-finish line. It'll start to really cycle itself back out again. But until then, just have to wait. $21 likes on the stream now. There we go. We might get 25 by the end of it. It's possible. Still have 22 to go. On a road course. Take a little bit of time to get these laps in. It has now been about 2.5 hours since the start of this race. It's going to be very close to the 3-hour mark by the time this one comes to a close. I don't think we're quite going to get there, but it's going to be close. Again, for a Busch Series race, that is a pretty long one. Got to get around Jason Keller. Once he does that, Biffle's going to have quite a bit of clean air in front of him. Now he's just hoping it stays green to the end of the race from this point. Hate to see this dominating performance get halted in any sort of way. Big cut to the bottom, clips the inside wall while passing Jason Keller, but he still gets around him. Third time he's hit the inside wall today now. First time in turn 3, though. $20 to go at the line. Ooh, Keller runs right into the left rear of Biffle. Biffle went a bit wide that corner. Keller ran right into him. I don't think he was expecting Biffle to check up that much. I'm surprised your race isn't done yet. Are you doing the... You said it was truck series, right? About what lap were you on when you... Or what lap was I on when you started that race? I thought it was like early in the race. I was thinking you're probably going to be done by then. Oh, and that's 150 miles. This one's 300. Twice the length. And it's a road course. I've seen how much the channel has grown since you first subscribed. It's crazy for me too. Yeah, we just hit over 1.5 thousand subscribers on Sunday during the Cup race. During the Cup Series live stream, I think we gained like 70 subscribers that day. I think 72 according to my analytics. Crazy. I mean, how long it took to get just to 1,000? It took about a year and a half, and now in like 3 or 4 months, we've already gotten over 500. That's awesome. It's up to me to put the content out there, but it's up to you guys to click and continue to click on these videos, and importantly, to click on the subscribe button. I have no input in that. I can tell you guys to do it. You don't have to listen to me, but I appreciate it. By the way, Biffle's lead is 25 seconds, almost 25 and a half seconds, so it's going to take a caution for somebody to get back into this, but he had a 20 and a half second lead earlier in the race, and we had a caution, and the field got bunched right back up again. So it's not impossible. 16 laps to go at the line now. Caution could end the race depending on how many laps we have left if it does fly. But that's kind of been the story of this Busch Series season. The first 2 to 3 races this year, we saw a lot of yellows, but after that, we have seen barely any cautions in any of the races. 3 of them, again, have gone caution-free of the first 9 we've ran so far. And it took until the 4th race to get our first caution-free race of the year, and that was at Nazareth. 4th time Biffle's now clipped the inside wall. It's all been with the left side of the car, so it's been on the left-handed corners where he's clipped the inside wall, not the right-handed turns. Which there's very few right-handed turns on this track, though. Turn 2, and then I believe turn 7 are the only right-handers on this entire racetrack. The other 6 are left-handers. Actually, turn 4 is a tiny right-hander, but you're full throttle all the way through it. Right here is a little kink. Oh, gotcha. Keep an eye on Survivor. I was wondering, I was expecting that race to be done by now. Next race I'm going to commentate live this weekend, Sunday for Phoenix. I'm going to be commentating nearly every race I'm not going to in person this year. I'm going to a lot of races in the spring and the fall, but like during the summertime, the only race from the first weekend of June, Gateway, and then like the first weekend of August. So there's like a 2-month stretch I'm not going to a race in person, NASCAR wise at least. I've got some plans to go to other races this year outside of NASCAR. I really want to go to the Indy 500. I'm definitely going to the Mid-Ohio IndyCar race, that's for certain. I guess I'd be going to the Mid-Ohio truck race too. That's still NASCAR. I'd like to go to a couple dirt races this year, local shows. Potentially the King's Royal for the World of Outlaws at Eldora. That's like their second biggest race of the season. It's only 2 hours south of where I live, and I know I'm not going to a NASCAR race that weekend, so good chance I'll probably just leave work that afternoon and like get out a little bit early and then head down. Probably work a half a day or something. So I've got some big races planned on the channel that aren't all NASCAR as far as race highlight videos and stuff go too. I'd like to go to that SRX race in Sharon. That's only about 2 to 2.5 hours east of where I live. But Ryan Blaney's going to be there. Dave Blaney's going to be racing. I know I want to see it. Once that was announced, I think earlier today they announced it. And I saw that when I was on my lunch break. I'm like, I've got to go now. I was thinking about going as it was because it was in my home state. But like, I have to go now. I haven't seen what weekend that is yet, though. I'm just really hoping it's not the same weekend as the Mid-Ohio IndyCar or Xfinity race. Because that's going to be pretty tough. I mean, if it's the Mid-Ohio race for the IndyCar series, I think that's on a Sunday. So I could probably get away with going to the Sharon Speedway race Saturday night and then going to the IndyCar race Sunday. I just have to basically leave the hotel somewhere around the SRX race. Leave the hotel pretty early in the morning. I'm probably only going to have a few hours of sleep, but that'd be the only way I could go to both. But if it's on the same day as the truck race, I'm not going to be able to go. I don't think I'd have enough time by the time the truck race ended to get up there in time. Because they're probably a good hour and a half to 2 hours away from one another. I'd like to, though. That'd be my first SRX race. I didn't go to Eldora last year when they raced there. I thought about it, but oh man, where was I? I think I was at Pocono that weekend, if I remember right. I'm pretty sure I went to Pocono for the doubleheader that weekend. That's why I didn't go to the SRX race in Eldora. I don't know the SRX schedule exactly, so I don't know what weekend that falls. I know it's the last SRX race of the year, too, so it'd be the championship. Ten laps to go. That last time by at the line for Greg Biffle, 26.5 second lead, his largest of the race. On a regular run, at least. He had a one-lap lead at one point as he saw moments ago, but that was because he stayed out about an extra 15 laps compared to everybody else on fuel. 15 to 20 laps worth. We get to under 5 laps to go. That's where the race could end with a caution. Potentially. SRX at Sharon said it's April. No, it's not April 23rd. I think it's in the summer. Oh, contact. Russell Hughes is in the wall in turn 2, and out in the grass, we stay green. He overran the corner right into the right rear quarter panel of Greg Biffle. That would have been a potential caution that Biffle would not have wanted to see with this race on lock. This is the only road course race in the Busch Series custom schedule season. We have a lot on the Cup Series side, and we had 4 in the trucks, but just the 2. On this side, Caleb Brinkley, welcome to the stream. I'm playing this on my PlayStation 2. July 23rd, gotcha. Oh, jeez. Yeah, I knew it was in April. I figured that the SRX was going to be in the summer like it was last year. July 23rd. I think that's the same weekend as Pocono, so I should be able to go. I'm not going to Pocono again this year. I wanted to go last year because of the doubleheader. I've been there once. I saw 2 great Cup races when I was there, so I got my money's worth for Pocono. I was lucky to go when they had some fantastic races. And they still could have fantastic racing this year, but I'd only get to see 1 race too, so it'd be kind of a little bit of a decline from what it was last year as far as the action that weekend. Saw Jimmy Hill and Terry Cook in turn 2 that last lap make a little bit of contact. That time they were side by side and they made it through without any contact. Casey Atwood going to go a lap down at the hands of Greg Biffle. I believe he is 2 laps down now, and Jimmy Hill is about to lose, I believe, his 3rd lap. Biffle underneath Terry Cook. On that left rear corner panel into turn 1. On the bottom lane. Cook on the inside in turn 2. Biffle was on the outside. He held on strong. Biffle slides a little bit. Clears Cook off the exit of turn 3. Almost a 28-second lead for Biffle. And now 5 laps to go. Really trying to click these laps away before we potentially get a caution. Again, we've gone a long time without a yellow. If we stay green to the end of the race, this is going to be the longest green flag run of the day. At 79 laps on a green flag run to end this race. Still just shy of the 3-hour mark on tonight's Busch Series race. Late night for me. Usually, we've been on a good streak of not streaming past 10 o'clock recently. But unfortunately, I couldn't get this race started until 7:15 because I got home from work a little later. But I'm off for work tomorrow, so our 6 p.m. start time will end probably between 8:30 and 9 o'clock again tomorrow. 4 laps to go now. Again, our next live stream will be tomorrow night at Phoenix on NASCAR Chase for the Cup 2005 Cup Series Custom Schedule season. It'll be the 2nd race of the Phoenix doubleheader. We ran the Phoenix Road Course in the last Cup Series race, but now on the oval this time around. The old oval, that is. But of course, the Cup Series in real life actually racing at Phoenix this weekend, so kind of a good timing to have Phoenix on our custom schedule season for NASCAR 05. We get to 3 laps to go. The race will definitely end with a caution flag. No cautions on the final lap. Three to go. Did they announce that Kenny Schrader was supposed to run the SRX race at I-55 Speedway. I know he owns the track, but I don't remember seeing if he was racing or not. That'd be pretty cool if he was. I know he still races like local midget races from time to time still. He's in his 60s if I'm not mistaken, but it'd be pretty cool if he jumped in an SRX car just for the one race. Haven't seen him in the public spotlight in a while as far as on the track in a non-local series. Two laps to go. We'll spun the tires a bit, turns 1 and 2. Yeah, that's true. Biffle DNF'd in the last Cup Series race on NASCAR 05. I believe that points lead's down to like 73 points or 79 points. I know it's in the 70s, so it's a lot closer to what it was before. After that DNF for Biffle, his first DNF of the season. White flag in the air, 1 lap to go, so it looks like we're just going to sit at the 2 cautions in tonight's race. Side by side, lap traffic through turns 1 and 2. The 106 car who led a few laps in today's race. He won the race off of pit road back on the caution at lap 39. Biffle's going to have about a 30-second interval lead over second place with just a couple corners to go. That battle in front of him is going to last for about another lap because Biffle's not going to catch him into the final corner in turn 8. So one final time into turn 8. Checkered flag will be waving on the other side. Greg Biffle will win the one and only road course race of the Busch Series season. It will take place at the Old Spice Speedway, and now he'll get to do the burnout across the bridge. What a win for the Biff, and I believe that is number 7 on the Busch Series season so far. And a max points day at that as he dominated this race, leading well over half of the going. I believe he led over 190 laps in today's race. From the 4th starting spot, he just absolutely dominated the field. Ken Schrader is 66, will be 67 in May. That'd be cool if he raced. He can do it. Especially with it being a short track series. No different than in racing open wheel midgets still. I know they're kind of more like micro midgets or quarter midgets, but still. If he can do that, he can do the SRX race. Especially at like the same style track. Quarter mile bull ring. 3rd mile. Whatever. I know it's a really short dirt track. Imagine the Daytona 500, but the road course 200. Oh my gosh. That'd be terrible. Well, terrible in length. That'd be a marathon. And Chase Elliott would probably win it like every other year. Alright, Greg Biffle to win 2 hours 51 minutes on tonight's race. So just shy of that 3-hour mark, but we did come pretty close. Biffle led 186 of the 200 laps tonight. Just obliterated the field. David Green led 4 laps, finishing in 2nd. J.J. Ailey finished in 4th with 5 laps led. Dwayne Borland, fantasy driver, finished in 3rd. Bobby Hamilton Jr. rounds out the top 5 with no laps led. Ashton Lewis finishes 6th. Kenny Wallace 7th. Herbie Sadler 8th. Kyle Busch leads 2 laps from the pole. He led the first 2 laps of the race. He'll finish 9th, and Tim Feedle will round out the top 10. And despite only having 2 cautions in this long race as far as the laps time went, still 13 drivers finished on the lead lap. It's actually not bad. Wally Renshaw was in that 106 car who led 3 laps today, all during a caution period. After he won the race off of pit road one of those times. And we'll take a look at who all DNF'd in today's race. We had a few of them. It looks like 4 drivers failed to finish. Eddie Hammock, David Stremme, Trey Murray, and Shane Kirkland all blew an engine in today's race. So 79 lap green flag run to the end was the longest green flag run of the entire race. 6 lead changes total in today's event. Like, share, and subscribe for more daily NASCAR content. I will see you guys in the next one tomorrow night at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time at Phoenix on NASCAR Chase for the Cup 2005. I will see you guys then. Thank you so much for your appreciation and support as always. We are on the road to 10,000 subs in the year 2022, and of course, most importantly, on the road to becoming a NASCAR commentator down the road. Thank you, everybody. Have a good rest of your Wednesday night.